Hi, my loves. This is a little impromptu live video. I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel afterwards. It's not going to stay on here, but I was having a really interesting conversation this morning. A lot of interesting things have been coming up for me the past week. Always happens when you're in the phase of launching something, which is what we're doing right now with the Energetic Success Studio, which is open until April 18th. All the information is in the link in my bio, but I really want to talk today about this concept of success and what does success mean and what does success look like? Because for the longest time, I really had a super warped opinion about what success looked like, what it meant, and what I needed to be striving for, and also what I needed to be telling people about success, right? So much of what we learn and what we've been taught and how we feel like we need to show up comes from these external validations and in order to be accepted, right? And so it gets really easy to disconnect yourself, or it becomes really easy to disconnect yourself from what you actually desire, what you actually envision for yourself, and instead start creating and painting a picture. And I was really good at doing that. I'm still in the process of catching myself when I start talking about things, and especially with certain people. And you might have people like this in your life as well. I know that I do, who just tend to trigger you a little bit more, or who had high expectations of you growing up, or who, you put on a pedestal, or who you want love and acceptance and validation from. And so you frame things in certain ways that creates a particular story for the outside world. What tends to happen is you start disconnecting yourself from your true success, from what you are actually desiring to create, because it kind of starts to go like this, right? It's like, this is what I want, and this is what I'm telling people. This is what I want, and this is what I'm telling people. And it feels like there's a lot of pressure that comes up with that, right? So one of the things that I've learned and that I've realized and that I have embedded into my teachings is that the version of success that you want to create is very specific and unique to you. So for example, I, for such a long time, and if you go back to like some old sales pages or old courses, I'm sure it'll still be on there. You'll be able to like pull it out. But I really felt like the people who are at the top of the coaching industry, like people who I love, people who I look up to, people who have been my mentors, people who I've worked with, that I needed to match their level. And what that meant is I looked at the success that they had created and decided that that was the definition of success. And that is super detrimental, not only because one, it creates, if you're not at that level yet, such a lack mentality of reaching for something that you feel like you need to have in order to be adequate and worthy and valuable. And it also, again, isn't necessarily true for you. You think, this is what people want to see. This is how I'm meant to be showing up. And again, if you don't have an online business, you don't have to have an online business. It could be in your job, how you feel like you need to show up in your job, the way that you're maybe framing things to, not people within your job, but your friends outside of work or your partner, because you want to feel like I'm doing a good job. I don't want them to think that I'm not doing a good job, but I didn't get that promotion, so I'm not going to share that whole story, or I wasn't able to retain that one client at work, and so I'm not going to share that whole story. Where are you reframing the truth? And what I really want to hone in on here is it doesn't even matter what you're saying to other people. What matters is what you're saying to yourself. And when you reframe that truth for yourself, what that is actually saying, the message that you're giving yourself is, what you did isn't good enough. Therefore, we need to create a better story. And that is not supportive energy. That's not a supportive approach to build yourself up. That actually tears you down and is a form of negative self-talk. So back to what I was saying before, this concept of success, what I have begun reframing for myself, and this is exactly what I teach inside the Energetic Success Studio, is a version of success that is unlike anything that you see in this industry, right? You always see the luxurious vacations and the private jets and the private boats and, flying all across the world and the penthouse apartments, et cetera, et cetera. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that is your version of success, that's fucking amazing. What I really want to hone in on though is not what you're creating, but how it feels to you, because that is true success. And if we can start to peel it back and come back to the foundation, peel back the layers, simplify it down, come back to this inner little light switch, this inner little candle that's like, I feel successful, I feel good, I feel fulfilled, I feel at peace. What success actually is that feeling. That is success. And so instead of looking at success in the form of financial success and, housing success or business success, because those are all the external results of success, but those look different for everyone. The feeling tends to be pretty consistent because it is, no matter if you have that big luxury yacht or if you are taking a Sunday stroll to your favorite coffee shop with your love, hand in hand, meeting friends along the way, the sun is shining in your face, that's also success. That feeling on both levels can be the same if you are connected to that aligned success. So what I mean by that is, like, you can be walking to the coffee shop and you're like, I do this every fucking weekend. Like, don't come for me right now, for sure. But how are you framing that for yourself? Like, are you so grateful that this is your life right now? Like, is this what you've wanted the entire time? So for example, for me, I've always wanted to live in Munich, or actually not even Munich. I've always wanted to have my own apartment. And I was spending a lot of time traveling around to different places, feeling super ungrounded in that. And I have finally manifested my own apartment. I'm looking at it right now. It's missing some furniture. But for me, like, it is honing in on, like, oh my God, we're here. Like, sure, it's not the penthouse. Sure, it's not the big, beautiful farm that I one day want, like, on a lake somewhere. But this is success right now. And, like, how can I just be here and enjoy it and embrace it? And the same thing with my relationship, the same thing with my friendships, like doing the things that 2-3 years ago I so desperately wanted to be able to do because I didn't have these things in my life. Does that make sense? And so what it really comes down to is this soulful, simple, and softness around your day-to-day life. That is the definition that I want to give you for success. It's not, again, all of these big flashy things. It can be, but that is the secondary result. The first and primary result is the internal result. And it brings me back to the whole concept of, like, slow living, right? This was like a huge, it still is a huge fad, but it was a huge fad a couple years ago with, like, decluttering and minimalism when that all hit the market. And that slow living kind of life of, like, really being intentional, like cutting your lemon and putting it in your warm water for your morning warm lemon water, and cutting up the ginger, and going to the grocery store and meal prepping a nourishing, luscious meal, and having collected all the recipes that, your grandmother gave you or that you found on Pinterest, and you, like, set it up for your entire week. And for me, for example, it's being able to be in flow and in control of my time, where I can go out in the middle of the week and have lunch with my boyfriend, or go get a coffee with a friend, or take a day off so that we can go travel. For example, 2 weeks ago, my boyfriend and I, we went to London to actually just have fun for the weekend. And I took Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off of work, and, like, having that freedom and having a business that supports that, like, that is success. And ultimately, like, everything else is secondary, right? If, like, the business grows and more money comes in, yeah, we'll do different things. But right now it's already successful. And that is the feeling, right? And that is where more success ends up coming in, because you actually feel fulfillment in where you are right now. And you're able to create safety around where you are right now. And that's what I realized. So back to the story at the beginning, looking at all of the coaches and the mentors and people I was working with and following, it created actually a lot of pressure. And one thing that I teach inside of the studio is that we don't create anything from pressure. We only create from a place of pleasure. So we want to be in the state of expanded joy in order to create more of that. Where focus goes, energy flows. What we focus on expands, right? And so having all of these expectations of success, what I thought was expected of me, created so much pressure that I couldn't even get the results that I wanted now, and I wasn't even enjoying where I was at now. Does that make sense? So my definitions, and I'm gonna leave this here, but the soulful, simple, soft success. What I like to think about is like what life would feel like and what your life would feel like, and tune into this, maybe even close your eyes right now. What life would feel like if it was like an old-timey romance novel, right? Like think The Notebook, or think like a period piece. Like you wear flowy dresses or whatever, like floats your boat around that. But for me, it's like wearing the flowy dresses, having like the layered necklaces, going for walks in the park, strolling around, riding my bike to the river that's in my city right now, having a Aperol on the patio with a friend as the sun is setting, even if it's midweek, having Sunday strolls in the park, riding the bikes as the sun is setting and the wind is blowing in your hair, like all of those cutesy little things. That is that simplified, soulful success, and that feeling. And that's why we love those movies so much, or those stories, is because it connects us with that feeling of like, oh my God, life is so fucking sweet right now. And that is where your success actually exists. And that is what I'm going to be showing you and teaching you and inviting you to step into inside the Energetic Success Studio. And one of the things that I love so much about this, about the studio specifically, is number one, it's like your one-stop shop. Everything's in one place, and you really get to choose how you move through it, because it is set up as a membership platform. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I only have 3 months to get through all this content and get the support. No, it can literally last for as long as you want to. And my greatest intention is that when you step into this space, you feel this feeling. Like all of the practices that we're doing, all of the things that I share with you are to help you tap in to that romance novel, period piece, flowy dress vibe every single time you can join us in the studio, every single time you interact with one of the pieces of content, one of the videos, one of the workbooks, one of the audios, one of the live coaching calls. Like that is like the magic. It just gets to be like sprinkled on you the whole time. And the final thing that I love so much about the studio, and what I think really makes it super unique, is that we have a really intimate community here. Like I am not at that level of, millions of followers or even hundreds of thousands of followers. And I think that there's something super, super special and unique about that specifically, because I have the background, I have the certifications, I have the embodied wisdom that I teach here. This isn't something that I just pulled out of my butt, 3 weeks ago and I was like, I'm gonna teach this. I've been doing this for years. I've been teaching so many women on exactly this within my courses, in my one-on-one coaching, in group containers, on live calls, all of those things. So this is truly a really special space, because you get the best of both. You get access to me, you get all the content, you get all the embodied wisdom, you get to activate this in your life, and you get that in a really intimate setting. So I would absolutely love to invite you to join me in there. If you have any questions, that is what I'm here for. Send me a DM, send me an email. And this video will be posted on the YouTube channel. It's not going to be living on Instagram. So I will share the link in my bio and you can go watch the whole thing later. But thank you for joining me today. Wishing you all a lovely rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.